Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the Two Goat Show. We're your hosts, Miriah and Steph. Steph, happy draft day. Happy Thursday. It's finally here. How you feeling? Talk to me.
It is finally here, and so far it is not disappointing. I mean, we're seeing these reports flying on Twitter, and I mean, this is just the beginning. It hasn't even started yet. We're about a couple hours away from it actually starting, so I can't wait to see what goes down.
Yeah, man. I'm nervous. I feel nauseous. Why? Draft day is already like all this mixed emotions already, and then when like one of your favorite players is up in trade talks and all this like circling around, of course the rumors going crazy. Like it's been a hell of a time for me, especially since we lost in the Super Bowl till exactly this moment. Like, man, like a wild ride of emotions for me with the whole Brandon Aiyuk thing. And I'm just ready for it to all be over one way or the other. Chat, what's up? What's up, fam? Hope everybody is doing great. Happy Thursday. Happy draft day. Let us know how you guys are feeling. Shout out to all of you guys for being here. I see somebody I haven't seen in a hell of a long time. Tia, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Yeah, but chat, hope you guys are doing great. So let's kind of start now with things that kind of got released. Starting at 1:37 my time, so Pacific Standard Time, till literally like 2:47 was the last thing from Ian Rappaport. So I'll kind of just start at the beginning, go through those tweets, and then kind of get your thoughts on it. So Mike Silver puts out a tweet at, like I said, 1:37 Pacific Standard Time that says, in the course of trade conversations about Brandon Aiyuk, numerous teams are inquiring about fellow 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel's availability. The 49ers would likely have to be blown away by the offer to make that move. Fluid situation, though. And then at 1:56 Pacific Time, so not even 10 minutes later, David Lombardi quote tweets that and says, moving Deebo Samuel would save the 49ers about $39 million, which obviously, which would be what? Obviously valuable space for Purdy. He like put something weird there. Aiyuk and the rest of the team, but San Francisco's shorter term considerations, win a Super Bowl, outweigh the longer term ones. So yes, they'd have to be blown away by an offer. Then at 1:59, so 3 minutes after Lombardi's tweet, Diana Rossini tweets out, the 49ers have had conversation with teams, including with one picking in the top 10, about trading either of their prized wide receivers, Brandon Aiyuk or Deebo Samuel, in an effort to move up in the first round, per sources. Interesting. And then, most recent, Ian Rappaport puts out a video at 2:47, and it's titled, From Our NFL Draft Kickoff Show, What's the Latest on Wide Receiver Brandon Aiyuk? If I play this, will you get dings because you're monetized?
No, okay. I don't think so.
I'm just going to play it from my phone anyway, so. Okay. So real quick, this is what he had to say about that. Let me make sure it's at the beginning and that you guys can hear it.
I think it's fair to say the status of Brandon Aiyuk is very firmly up in the air for the San Francisco 49ers. No doubt they're going to have interest from teams potentially trading for Brandon Aiyuk. And we may actually find out tonight because the 49ers have been very clear internally, externally. They would like a first-round pick for such a talented receiver. And the reality is this has been the market. Hollywood Brown, A.J. Brown, both were traded for one or more than one during the draft. The 49ers were going to do that. That would have to be the price. But there's a lot more going on here. He's a very good player. He is a homegrown player. He also has had a lot of success in San Francisco. Does he really want to leave, or does he just want to get a market deal, a really good, strong wide receiver deal from the 49ers? And then Would they actually want to trade a player? Would they help become one of the better receivers in the NFL? This story has not yet been written for us. Yeah, I think it's fair to say.
So, with all that info that just came out in the last little bit of time, what are your thoughts on that whole situation and with Deebo's name now, getting more thrown around into things?
It's still very much an anything is possible situation. And look, I don't think it's surprising that teams are calling the 49ers, that 49ers are calling teams about a trade up, or, teams wanting to trade out. This is what teams do in the lead up to the draft. They try to get all of this information because when they're in a certain situation or there's a certain player available, they want to have all those answers already. So they're not wasting any time making calls last minute. So I don't think it's surprising that we're hearing that these conversations are happening now. Yeah, this is definitely interesting, right? I think it was interesting for one that Mike Silver earlier in the week, just a couple of days ago, said that Deebo Samuel was assured he would not be traded. Now it sounds like, teams are calling interested in Deebo, and the 49ers are like, you know what? But this might be nice. And to me, that one makes a lot more sense than the Aiyuk trade. I know Aiyuk would get the 49ers more in return, but Deebo Samuel, he's on the last year, I think, of with his time with the 49ers in 2024. So, I mean, if you can get something for him right now and the draft is right in front of you, you're not liking pick 31 and you want to at least have some ammo maybe to be able to move up a little bit earlier in the first round. I don't think Deebo would get the 49ers a first round pick. I think Pretty Ricky, who's, the people's reporter throughout this offseason, he said the best offer the 49ers have gotten for Deebo has been a fourth. I don't know if that's going to change. I would definitely want more than a fourth, right, for Deebo. But, I think that'd be the more likely one. I see all these people saying, I don't know if it's the right move for the 49ers to, move on from Brandon Aiyuk. I mean, he's been a pretty sure thing for them these past couple years, and he's still young. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that either. I think, look, if it could get him a top 10 pick, that's where it gets interesting. If that top 10 team pulls the trigger and says, fine, we'll do it, which I don't see happening, quite honestly. I don't see it happening. I think there's a lot of talent available there, including Marvin Harrison, including Malik Neighbors, Odunze, and maybe even Brock Bowers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a top 10 team willing to make that trade, quite honestly. But let's just say hypothetically, if the 49ers did get offered that, hell yeah, I'd do it. I mean, so we'll see what happens. I don't know if anything really will take place, but it definitely feels like something could happen.
Yeah. Up until probably today, like just with all the factors, like Aiyuk even, down to, but obviously not limited to Aiyuk's agent being good friends with John Lynch, right? Like I've been pretty confident that they would pay Aiyuk. Obviously, hearing all this BS from all these other fan bases on social media throughout this off season, like none of them take into consideration. Like I saw so many times just today, even other fan bases putting tweets out there saying, well, if the 49ers don't want to trade Brandon, don't want to pay Brandon Aiyuk, then what are you going to do? Hold him hostage? Trade him to a team that'll pay him. And it's like, have the 49ers said anything, one single bit of info out there that they didn't want to pay Brandon Aiyuk? No, it's like teams figure, oh, the 49ers haven't paid him yet, so that means they don't want to pay him. But obviously us as 49ers fans, 49ers content creators and whatnot, we know how the 49ers do business. And this falls right into line of how they've done the last big contracts that they've signed. They stretch it out as long as possible. We watch everybody else get paid. And then finally, our guy gets paid after a whole offseason of BS. So I don't know. It's just like been, like I said at the beginning, such a wide range of emotions for me. But like up until this point, I was pretty confident that, they would eventually pay him and he's not going to get traded. Today, I'm not as confident, let's just say. I don't know if it's just like, now the time's here. So, like up until this point, I could be confident, right? Because, I knew he wasn't going to be, I knew he was going to be on the team up until this point. It's like, but now, especially today, that it's the first round and so many different reports are coming out. I don't know. Like you said, they're going to get more for Aiyuk in a trade. And, to be blown away with an offer on either Aiyuk or Deebo, you're going to get more for Aiyuk. So I feel like they have a better chance to be blown away on an offer when it comes to Aiyuk. And do they? I don't even want to say it because it just makes me sick to my fucking stomach. Do they freaking end up trading him? And it's not even just, that, like, and Aiyuk, it's like the growth of Purdy too. It's like, that he might be the number 4th option in this offense, but that's Purdy's number 1 option in the passing game. And like we watch their chemistry that they're building, and it's just like, and like Rappaport just said, the 49ers helped turn, and this is what I've been saying for the last 6 freaking 8, 10, 12 freaking months. You helped turn Brandon Aiyuk into what he is today, and then you're going to let him go to another team and flourish at the top of his peak, like at the height of his career, after all the time, everything that you put in through the doghouse and getting him to be a dog when it comes to blocking and, just every, like, still not like all these routes that, Aiyuk's not getting the freaking ball yet. He's still out there running his routes, not giving up on shit, doing everything he needs to do, unlike other people on this team. And, it's like all that's just going to get wasted, and we're going to throw it out the door to then go get a rookie, which we've seen how this happens before. We trade away a vet and then have to go hurry up and try to replace them in the draft and draft somebody that now they're trying to fill some shoes of a vet that we just got rid of. And they're not able to do it, and look how the confidence that Shanahan has to have in a wide receiver to be able to play him, to be able to do what Shanahan wants them to do in this offense. Like Bell, look, through the preseason of this last year, like everybody is like, oh, he looks like he could be a dude. Yet, did we ever see him? No, because he's not what Shanahan needs him to be to play into this offense, to be the dude in this offense. So we have to go through all that in drafting another wide receiver to replace Aiyuk if they trade him away. And I just don't think it's worth it when you're in a Super Bowl win now situation. So you guys know my stance, obviously. If it's up to me, I don't care about the cap hit, the dead cap hit, the bullshit. Like we watched Buffalo just do it with Diggs. And yeah, the situation was different, but teams will take on the dead cap hit if if you're blown away with an offer. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But if it's up to me, obviously I'm trading away Deebo before I trade away Aiyuk every day of the week.
Yeah. And look,
so yeah.
I'm still standing pat though on the fact that I don't think anything will happen, just because one, I do still think the 49ers don't want to trade Aiyuk, and I think what they would value more than Aiyuk right now would be like a king's ransom, as we're saying. They got to be blown away. So, and I stand pat on believing that I don't think a team is willing to, give that up for Brandon Aiyuk right now. When you also have to consider they'd be on the hook for having to pay him a big contract. So again, it's the 49ers keeping their options open. It's other teams keeping their options open as well in case, maybe one of the receivers that they want isn't available. And that's part of the reason a lot of these teams are wanting to move up too. It's interesting. Like, we've also been seeing the Jags, who have reportedly been interested in Brandon Aiyuk as well, trying to trade up for a wide receiver as well. So again, like, they're on the fence right now too, and they're trying to figure out what their final decision is going to be there. And so really that's all it's going to come down to. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to see. Hypothetically, let's just say for the sake of conversation, if the 49ers do trade Brandon Aiyuk, and let's say they do get a top 10 pick, I mean, who would they be picking? And I'll just say, like, let's just say top 10 pick the Bears, right? Because they're pick number 9. We saw the reports. They're open to moving out of 9. And, they're letting teams know that. And the 49ers have done trades with the Bears before. So I don't think it'd be all that foreign to them. So let's just say they move up to pick 9 in exchange for Brandon Aiyuk. Maybe there's other picks involved in the trade. I don't know. But let's just say pick number 9. 49ers are on the clock. Who would they pick up?
I don't know. I mean,
Miriah,
maybe lineman.
Miriah, it has not happened.
I don't know. They're moving up to draft a wide receiver that high. They probably will draft a wide receiver in the second. If they're moving up, you get the O lineman, you get the corner, you get the guy that you wouldn't normally be able to get.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say, like, Malik Neighbors, definitely, and he's a better prospect coming out of college than Brandon Aiyuk was. Very polished receiver out of LSU, and LSU, does have a lot of experience with churning out good NFL receivers. So I definitely would not be mad at that if that were the move. Brock Bowers, I'm seeing a lot of people mentioning that as well in the chat. He would make sense to me too, and like, I'm glad people are saying it in the chat, because I haven't seen enough people on Twitter actually mention Brock Bowers as a legit option for the 49ers. And I'll tell you why. Just because I think that the 49ers have found it's not easy to find a tight end replacement, or, find a really good tight end. And maybe to some extent you feel like you lucked out on George Kittle, but ever since you drafted George Kittle, you've been trying to find a good number 2 behind him, one who can also catch passes, right, in addition to block. Right. And they haven't been able to find that. I think, they've found that it's probably easier said than done to find an eventual replacement for him. But if you're going to find a replacement for him, I mean, you're probably going to find it in the top 10 of the draft, right? And Brock Bowers is one of those guys who's very versatile. I've seen people say he's much more than just a tight end, right? So right. I think that would be valuable to the 49ers. And of course, I've seen people mention tackle for the 49ers. 9 would be a sweet spot to get one of the top tackles in the draft. And I know some people saying Joe Alt. Yeah. Joe Alt could go at 5. And if he doesn't go at 5, because I've seen people say JC Latham to the Chargers at 5 potentially. Maybe Alt falls a few picks. I don't know. Maybe he makes it a 9. I don't know. But in any case, I think the 49ers would be able to get one of the top 3, at least, tackles in the draft. That's a future All-Pro right there, I would have to imagine. So definitely would be some nice options for them that I wouldn't be mad at. And so let's just say now, if they got a mid first round pick, like, I mean, how would you then feel about that? Do you think the 49ers would even take that?
I would hope not.
Well, I'm asking the wrong person, because you probably wouldn't even take the pick number 9.
I wouldn't take nothing.
And by the way, your video that you put yesterday of the angry panda was hilarious, because, like, it's just a panda throwing a tantrum basically, and that's how you feeling
Exactly
about this
me.
whole Aiyuk situation. I cracked up when I saw that.
Yeah, I don't know. I swear every tweet that I saw somebody say, "Oh, how do you guys feel? Like, would you guys trade Aiyuk for yada yada?" Like just like you're doing right now. And I quote tweet it with like that gif, like shaking the head, no, no matter what it was. I was replying with that yesterday. The no, like hell no, I ain't trading him. I don't care what. Obviously, I'm not the 49ers, and they're gonna do what they do, but yeah, I mean, realistically, if you're going into that mid-range, I'm trying to think of like the players that have like I've been seeing go there. Like I would still think the same. Like if you can get, an offensive lineman,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No matter what.
I mean,
no
they
matter
said what? That there's only 22 or whatever, like
22
first
round grade.
round grades on guys. So
That tells, so for one, the fact that they're interested in moving up at all tells me that they're not very confident that the 22 guys they have on their board for the first round will make it to 31.
right.
I will continue to say that I think the most likely scenario is the 49ers trade up, but just a few spots. Like I don't see them going to like the teens or the 20s.
Yeah.
Just because I think for one, it would take too much. There's other teams who are also in the running to try to do the same. So there's
Mhm.
going to be a lot of competition. And I think to an extent, the 49ers probably, I don't see them going all in to move up, into the teens and 20s. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But yeah, I could see them going into mid 20s, just a few spots before 31 and still being happy with who they get. I've seen quite a few mock drafts in like the last couple of days from guys who are very, plugged in, like what is his name? Scrags? Is it Scrags?
Uh,
From
Spraps. I don't know,
Scrag? I don't know.
Scrags, something like that.
Spags.
Yeah, I don't know what it
Spags.
is.
And then also I think it was Daniel Jeremiah. Like
Yeah.
both of those guys had the 49ers taking a wide receiver at 31. I saw Matt Mayoko sharing an article that he wrote from NFL Scout. I think it was from like another team, obviously, saying
Mhm.
that 49ers, you know, could target a wide receiver. And he wouldn't be surprised if it was Lad McConkey at 31, which definitely seems like a Kyle Shanahan type wide receiver,
And
Yeah,
Daniel
Ty's mad that
Jeremiah
I'm
had a
talking about mock drafts. See, Ty, like our mock drafts suck. Don't pay attention to our mock drafts, but some of these guys that are plugged in, they do have an idea or two. The problem with mock drafts, I think a lot of those guys who are plugged in, they have an idea what every team needs, and so they're creating mock drafts based on that. And of course, that's part of the reason why it's so much easier to predict like the first 10 picks is because there
Mhm.
isn't a lot of variance to what can happen in the first 10 picks. But once one team throws a curveball and does something no one was expecting, the whole thing gets blown up. And that's when like teams start doing things that maybe they weren't planning on doing before, they weren't thinking they were going to do before. So that's why, yeah, I mean, honestly, 31, that's going to be a really hard pick to predict. But, I just wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers went with a wide receiver just based on what people are saying. Now, the name could be anyone, but I'm following some tea leaves a little bit with that. Or, the 49ers could do what they always do and just pull the rug from under us and go with something completely different because maybe they're the ones putting it out there that, they might want a wide receiver. And maybe that's intentional
Mhm.
for whatever reason. Maybe they want teams to think they're going for a wide receiver so that teams think they're definitely going to trade Brandon Aiyuk or Deebo. And, I don't know. Teams
Yeah.
work in mysterious ways like that, right?
Yeah, and I was thinking about that earlier when I was getting ready. It's like when all this stuff started coming out, about Deebo and Aiyuk and Deebo, like tweet after tweet from all these national guys. It's like, so up until this point, like we're always talking about that the Niners don't leak stuff, right? Like always stuff's hidden under the vest. Like they tried to get us so many times, like, oh, the 49ers are moving up to draft Mac Jones and yada yada. And the whole time I kept thinking, like, the 49ers don't leak. Like, how would this be getting out? And after we drafted Trey Lance, come to find out, yeah, Shanahan wasn't even telling John Lynch, like,
yeah,
stuff's the secret around there. So back again, now I'm all of a sudden supposed to believe that the 49ers are leaking all this info out that, yeah, we want to trade all our guys away. We want to draft a wide receiver so you guys know exactly what our plans are, come the time. So nobody lets us move up. Nobody lets us make any moves. It's like, why? What would they be benefiting to them to be leaking all this info out there all of a sudden? Something that through this entire time that Shanahan and John Lynch have been here, they don't do. They do not leak.
That's not true. I don't think that's true. I think but I think if they leak, it's intentional. It's things they want you to know.
Yeah.
And then the question needs to be like, what do they want you to know?
That's what I'm saying. How would this be benefiting them to leak stuff that's like, it doesn't, the stuff that they put out there, it's to benefit them.
You also can't control like however many people work in the org and hear information, right? Like, yeah, like some people are going to talk. So I'm sure there's some people who are plugged in. I think honestly, the most extreme example that everyone brings up is a Mac Jones thing. And that's just because I truly believe the 49ers didn't even know what they were going to do. I don't even think Kyle Shanahan decided till like within a day or two of the draft. Which is a problem in itself, but that's a story for or a topic for another day. But I think that's what happened. And so like everyone points to the Mac Jones thing to be like, no one knows what the 49ers do, but that was just an example of the 49ers not knowing what they were going to do, in my opinion.
I don't think that they're going to leak info out there that's going to not benefit them whatsoever, is what I'm trying to say. Now, yeah, do they put info out there to silver, to stuff that's going to somehow that we find out benefits them along the way? Yeah, but putting your plans out for draft day, especially in the first round of the draft, that makes absolutely zero sense to me, especially 3 hours before draft.
And especially if you're not picking till 31, because, that's to me is why I think it's probably they want teams to think they're going to do something. Now, the trading up thing, though, I do believe. I do think they are interested in trading up.
Yeah, me too. I mean, because it makes sense with what they need, with everything that we've heard, with what John Lynch came out of his own mouth about the 22 players with the first round grade. And you figure they're obviously not looking for quarterbacks. We know a slew of quarterbacks is going to come off before that. So like you said, you don't see them moving up, all the way up. But I mean, probably they wouldn't need to, because figure 22 guys, like, are they great at, would they be grading quarterbacks in there? Like, are they grading guys that they would have no interest in just because they have a first round grade? Like, I wouldn't think so, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I would figure 22 plus 6 quarterbacks that are going to come off before that.
Right.
So if they could move up,
like I don't know if the 49ers graded quarterbacks, right?
Yeah,
like they don't need
saying.
one, right? And so I don't know if quarterbacks are included in that. Would be interesting.
Yeah. Maybe we'll know someday. What are your thoughts on, obviously we know the whole 49ers waiting to pay their guys, and we see this happen. They eventually pay them, but in the process we see other guys at the position get paid, which then knocks the price up. Just as recent as this week, Amon-Ra St. Brown got paid a pretty penny. What are your thoughts on that and how that affects this whole situation involving Brandon Aiyuk right now?
One, I'll just start by saying that when the initial numbers came out from his contract, it looked like 30 million average per year, right? So we all panicked. We're like, well, Ayuk's definitely going to ask for more. As more numbers came out, it seems like it's less than that per year, right? So that's good. That's good for the 49ers because I think, for one, I thought that it was always going to be more than 25 million average per year, which is what I don't want to say Devontae Smith got from the Eagles. And so I think they're still in that range, right? They're still within like 30 million and 25 million, which I think is what Aiyuk was probably going to ask for anyway. Now the 49ers do this hardball thing and they drag it out. I think in a way they want to wear down the other side. I think that's what they're trying to do. And I also think like involving, both receivers now in trade talks and things like that. I think it's almost a way for am I freezing up? Sorry, something's loading in the back here. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, I think part of that is to gather information on what another team would be willing to pay Brandon Aiyuk, hoping that it's going to be in the range that they would feel comfortable, the 49ers would feel comfortable in paying him. And so they could say, see, this is your value out there. You're not going to get as much as you want. You're not going to get as much as you think you're going to get. This is how other teams are valuing you, and this is how we value you. So, like, that's what I think goes into it as well. I think that it's kind of what they hope to gather out of like trying to get this trade talk going. And maybe there's some of that background with Brandon Aiyuk's agent happening with those teams. I don't know. I'm speculating completely. But it definitely feels like there's a process to it that the 49ers feel benefits them. I don't know if I see that, and that's why I'm speculating that there has to be some stuff happening in the background that maybe we don't know. Otherwise, yeah, it makes no sense because then a bunch of other guys are getting their deals. And this offseason in particular is really dicey because you don't want JJ, getting a deal. And I'm not talking Juwan Jennings, JJ. I'm talking Justin Jefferson, JJ. And you don't want CeeDee Lamb's deal to happen before you get Aiyuk's deals done. I'm not saying that Aiyuk's going to ask for more than Justin Jefferson. He has no right to do that. But I'm just saying, like, you don't even want the numbers to get that high because then he's going to look for something
like maybe right under that.
Even if it's under that. Yeah, exactly. That's still going to be hella high. So I think it'd be smart for the 49ers to get this done after the draft. As soon as you're not going to trade him, get this deal done.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to wait for that AJ Brown because now AJ Brown is about to get another extension as well with the Eagles. So that's another guy. We already talked about CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson. So I think it would do more damage for the 49ers than good to drag it out as long as they have been some of these other contracts.
Yeah. Real quick, let me shout out Ashley. What's up? I know she's probably already gone, but shout out to you. Make sure you guys are subscribed to her as well. Yeah, I just want this shit to be over with already. Like, come on,
Miriah. It hasn't happened, Miriah. You gotta speak something into existence. You gotta like kind of manifest it here.
So let's skip through what you think the 49ers want to draft, who they will draft tonight. If you were the GM of the 49ers, who are you drafting with tonight's pick?
Whew. Wow. Well, assuming they stay at 31, or
Yeah.
if they
Or whatever
move
you
up.
want to do. You're the GM. You do what you want.
Honestly, like,
As
I
long as it's
think
not trade Aiyuk.
some guys that I do like Chop Robinson is a guy I really like. Um, you might look at that and be like, another defensive lineman, really? But if they do go that route, I definitely wouldn't mind having him. I think Johnny Newton as well is another guy for the defensive line I would not be mad at all. I like Lad McConkey a lot. I do think he fits what the 49ers would like. Like, I could definitely see Kyle Shanahan loving him. And Cooper DeJean, the corner out of Iowa, I think also just because he offers some versatility as far as where you can line him up in the secondary and then having that return ability as well. McConkey also has return ability, so I think that's just another plus for the 49ers. A.D. Mitchell, as far as talent goes, A.D. Mitchell, I think, would be a great pick if he lasts till 31. Now, the question is medical concerns, character concerns seem to be real, or maybe a team's just trying to get him to fall. I don't know, but like I've seen a lot of reports now that there's like some character stuff there. So I don't know if that would put him off the 49ers board. Leatu Latu, who's been one of my draft crushes, and he, speaking of, crushed it at the Senior Bowl, now like reported to maybe be a slider in the first round. So if he gets to that 20 range, I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on him too, although he has injury concerns too. It's part of the reason that he's sliding. So look, I just want a sure thing. I think out of all the guys that I've mentioned, the ones who do have injury concerns or other type of concerns, while I would be okay with the 49ers picking them, I would much rather them go with as sure a thing as they can find, because again, they need impact guys. They can't afford to continue to swing and miss and go for like guys that need to develop, or go for any guys who are a risk in any type of way. Like, they need to go for a sure thing, and a guy who has a healthy, clean enough bill of health, no character concerns. I think that'd be like the safest thing. And of course, obviously the production, with the experience, that's what I would want above anything else.
Yeah, I agree. We definitely need somebody that can help us now, not somebody that, oh, well, yeah, he's not as good as the guys we currently have, so he's going to have to just sit there and
exactly. Those
develop.
guys, yeah, exactly. And those guys are never going to get an opportunity if we're being real. Like, maybe next year, maybe, but like by then they've been casted off, because it's like, well, you didn't really show us anything in the first year, so we don't really trust you anymore, kind of thing. So, yeah, get a sure thing. That's all I want.
I agree. What's up, Tanya? I see you. Also wanted to say what's up to Sin. Good to see you. You mentioned there one of your draft crushes, and that was the next question. Who are through this process? I know that you have interviewed, quite a handful of prospects, in your spotlight videos and whatnot. Give me a couple of your top guys of those guys that you interviewed, and then just a couple draft crushes, of regular guys in the draft. Doesn't have to be first round guys, just whoever.
Yeah, no, I mean, as far as like guys I've interviewed, obviously a lot of those guys probably looking to be undrafted free agents, priority free agents, day 3 guys.
Right.
But some guys who can make sense for the 49ers, like Christian Boyd, for example, is interior defensive lineman, who I think is gonna get drafted day 3, and he could definitely be an option for them, someone I think they would like. I also liked Theo Benedict, who is an offensive lineman from British Columbia. He was an interesting case. Like, he went back to college, and I think there was more interest in him before he went back. And we talked about that. So if you're like interested in his story, check that one out. But um still like a really good player that, yeah, probably more of a day 3 guy, but I think, he has a lot of experience. If you want to take a flyer on a offensive lineman, he would definitely be one. And then a couple of safeties that I had was TCU Mark Perry and Air Force safety Trey Taylor, who I think will go on the higher end of day 3 as well. The 49ers do need a safety, so I think if they get one in like the later rounds, either of those guys can be an option. Man, I could literally talk up any one of these guys. Like obviously I'm root for all of them.
Right.
And I think, a lot of the reason why I brought them on was also because the 49ers have had some contact with them at some form through this process. So in my eyes, I do kind of envision how they might fit with the 49ers. And so, quite frankly, like maybe 80% of them after the interview, I was like, yeah, like I could definitely see this guy being a Niner kind of thing, right? So check those out. I have a playlist for it on my channel if you guys are interested in. What was your other question?
Just, guys, your
crush?
draft crushes that, you didn't interview.
Yeah, so I would definitely say Chop Robinson is one of them. I was a little late to the party of like actually watching a lot of these guys, but Johnny Newton I like as well. Let's see. I mean, I'm a bit of a tough critic when I watch some of these guys. So Taylor Demerson was an interesting one. He's a safety, I believe, and yeah, he's a safety. I think he could be an option for the 49ers as well. Ben Sinot or Sano, definitely like him as an option for the Niners. But yeah, I don't have too many just because like I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of those guys. So
yeah, Sim says centers. I haven't heard too much. Interestingly enough, I don't hear too much talk about centers during this entire like lead up to the draft for the 49ers. But Sim says centers he likes is Zach Frazier and Matt Lee. Matt Lee's my brother, so when we draft him, I'd be expecting a check.
So there's a few that I think would be good values for the 49ers. Again, like haven't really dived into these guys' tapes, but people who I do trust their opinion on a lot of these players. Zach Frazier is one that comes up a lot. Tanner Bortolini out of Wisconsin is another guy, and Bortolini is probably going in the
name.
3rd, 4th round. Yeah, right. Like just like he sounds like he'd be good, right? He would probably go in the 3rd, 4th round, which I think is good value for what I'm hearing he is. And so yeah, I think that could be an option for the 49ers for sure. But they also like guys who can maybe play both center and guard, so they might be listed as a guard, but the 49ers might like him as a center. They always do weird things like that, so definitely wouldn't surprise me.
An hour and 18 minutes, Swan says. Not that nobody's counting or that we haven't been waiting so patiently to have a first round pick or anything, But
and
here
it's
we are.
suspiciously quiet now. Like now we're not seeing any reports.
I know. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I haven't seen any because, I can't look. So that's probably the best thing. I don't look at my phone.
Put your blinders on.
I'm going to walk around like, what's her face with the blindfold? Sandra Bullock in that movie, You always see that meme where she's like, that's going to be me up until draft time. All right. So for the who would use this week, I just have, let's go back and think about the players that 49ers have drafted. So not players that we have traded for, whatever. But in whatever round, first round, preferably, since we're drafting the first round today, but it doesn't have to be since I didn't give you no warning to prepare. But past players that the 49ers have drafted that we could draft to today's team to help us win a Super Bowl. Just give me a couple.
Well, sorry, what was it? Sorry, what was the question?
All right. So out of the players that the 49ers have drafted previously, so throughout the years, whatever, let's draft a couple today to this team to help us win a Super Bowl.
Okay, so you're talking about guys who aren't currently on the team anymore.
Right.
So maybe yeah, Jerry Rice, like duh.
Swan,
done.
Don't be
Jerry Rice,
with
Joe
those.
I mean, you can say
we're not replacing, so that we're not drafting new quarterback. Realistically, the positions that we're drafting, like that we're looking at, O-line, corner,
just the positions that we need.
Safety you've been talking about, George Kittle's
wide receiver.
The
49ers need a wide receiver. So
no, they don't.
I can say, yeah, they do.
We got a number one already.
I'm not saying they don't have a number one. I'm saying they need a wide receiver because Deebo and Jawan Jennings gone after 24. But if you're just talking about this season,
no, it doesn't have to be.
Okay, because then I'm gonna find a way to get Jerry on this team. If we're doing this hypothetical here, and then as far as okay, I was gonna say as far as the tackle goes, I would go Joe Staley, but we don't need a left tackle, so it's a little harder. All right. Anthony Davis and Mikey Potty would be.
Oh, I like that.
Be good ones.
That's good ones.
All right, hold on. Let me. And it has to be players the 49ers have drafted at some point. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So Sim said Merton Hanks and Guy McIntyre. And yes, Swan.
I'll take it way back. As far as let me think about a corner.
Sim says Joe Staley played right tackle his rookie year.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it then.
Justin Cowboy Smith with Nick Bosa. Oh.
Yeah. I like that. What about a corner? And this one's tough because see when we did the exercise of just having any like former 49er and building like our super team, I could have said Deion Sanders, but Deion Sanders was not drafted by the 49ers. Exactly. So I gotta think hard about that one. As far as a corner, who the 49ers could use. Let's see. I'm looking through the names now, and I'm in the territory of not knowing a lot of these people, but if
that's right. Justin Smith wasn't drafted by us, so he doesn't count.
Oh.
Charles Haley, Bryant Young, P. Willie.
We don't, but do you think we need a linebacker? I think the 49ers draft a linebacker.
Well, if we could have Patrick Willis and Fred Warner together.
Yeah.
So Greenlaw
why wouldn't you do that?
Comes back.
Yeah, by Greenlaw.
You can have a couple of years to
I'm gonna say Eric Davis. I'm gonna say Eric Davis for DB.
I like it. Ronnie Lott was initially a corner. That's true. That is true. But yeah, Eric Davis. P. Willie and Warner together would be cheat code. Like, could you imagine? Oh my god.
That's not even
that would be amazing. Really
not even fair.
The 49ers have had some good luck when it comes to linebackers, that's for sure. We've had some freaking studs, especially more recent, that like the guys that stick out that you can remember, like to have that period of time to have Willis and Bowman together, and then now have a period of time that we have Fred and Greenlaw, like a lot of teams dream for that,
Yeah, it's special. We've had a lot of great linebackers, kind of like the Ravens. Like the Ravens are another team who have just had this legacy of great linebackers, so very similar. Yeah,
Jesse, yeah,
at center guard.
like that, I like it.
We do need I would definitely take a new right guard. So
Yeah, for sure. Steph, what are you doing for the draft?
all right, so I'm gonna be going live with the Gold Standard Network crew, Rob Stats, Levin, but dual streaming to my channel as well. So if you guys are
Okay.
subscribed to my channel at Steph49K, then you guys could watch it there as well. We'll be going live before the 49ers pick. We're currently trying to figure out if we should go live like way sooner, just in case the 49ers
In case
do
they make
trade
a
up.
move, you're not like,
Yeah, exactly. I'm be on my toes. And then after the draft, doing an instant reaction show with NFL draft analyst John Vogel. So we'll talk about the 49ers round 1 pick. And yeah, and then tomorrow I'm doing another reaction show. So I'm excited. 12th pick. We'll see.
Nice,
I'll
nice.
tell Rob. I'll tell Rob.
I was thinking of this too, Alan Smith. Like, if we could get that version of him, like with no off the field issues,
Oh yeah.
to be opposite Nick Bosa, like, how do you even stop that? That would be,
I mean,
oh
well,
my gosh, like he was so
Brian,
damn good.
it's our hypothetical world, so I mean, I say we just do it.
Yeah,
Alden
like
Smith.
man, he was
Crazy. He was out of this world crazy. And
yeah. And I'll be going live. We'll be streaming the entire draft, all 3 days. I'll be live on my channel. I'll be live with Nothing But Niners, with Wayne Breezy, Peachy, Mike from Nothing But Niners, probably Tony, the whole crew that I stream with every single draft for the last, I don't know how many years. So yeah, we'll be streaming, like I said, from pick 1 to pick the next Brock Purdy. We'll be live. So pull through, come say hey. Obviously, we're not asking you to kick it with us the entire 30 hours, whatever the hell we're crazy being going to be live. But, come through. There's going to be tons of people streaming. So if you guys just pull through, say what's up to everybody, everybody appreciates it. I know. Those that are going to be out at a bar, out doing what you do. I know the 49ers are having a draft party at Levi's. So I know Miss Debbie's out there. Shout out to her. Anybody else joining her, everybody have fun. Please be safe out there. And yeah, I'll be going live with TL tomorrow at, I believe, 2:30 Pacific time to do our weekly show to talk about the first round draft pick and all that and get ready for the day 2 of the draft. So, Steph, shout out to you. Appreciate you for everything. Chat, you guys are amazing as always. We appreciate you guys. Answering all our questions, moving the show along. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. You guys are subscribed to both channels, Steph49K and 49 Faithfully on YouTube. It is greatly appreciated. And yeah, me and Steph will be back next week. Same time, same place. We're out of here, fam.
Peace.
Peace.